Welcome to Soulful Living. I'm Phillip Mountrose, your host today with a wonderful returning guest, Jeryl and Heatherdale. We're going to be talking about opening to the age of transformation. And myself and my wife and partner, Jane, who sometimes hosts the show too, we provide timely keys and tips, things you can use today, this week, actually regularly. And we have 3 decades of experience ourselves. We're founders of IAHP, the International Association of Holistic Practitioners, and founders of Awakenings Institute, a nonprofit organization. And today, as I mentioned, we're here with Jeryl and Heatherdale, a spiritual coach and teacher, on a wonderful, timely topic, opening to the age of transformation. Hey, welcome, Jeryl, and I'm going to introduce you.
Oh, hi, Philip. Thank you so much. I really am happy to be here with you.
Jeryl Ann's mission is to assist others in healing physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, for personal and planetary transformation and ascension, as well as to advocate for the healing of Mother Gaia. Uh, and as a friend and associate of Jeryl and myself, I'd like to say that she's an extraordinarily gifted, loving person. She's a minister with our Awakenings Institute, our nonprofit organization. She has a passion about her purpose and making a difference in the world. Welcome, Jeryl Ann, to this great topic of opening to the age of transformation. Tell us why that's important to you.
Oh my gosh, Philip, I could go on and on forever about it. I think it is first and foremost one of the most exciting times to be alive. We were you and I before we started the show. We were talking. We have never ever been in this space before. We've just come into the age of Aquarius, which means that we are going to be shifting from a more patriarchal society into a matriarchal society. So the feminine aspect of consciousness is really going to be coming to the forefront more and more and more. You know, I remember back in the 60s, and remember the musical group The Fifth Dimension talked about,
Right.
had the song, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, right? And I
The
mean,
age
it's
of
so
Aquarius.
exciting. Yeah, it's so exciting because this is exactly where we're at right now. And so consequently, uh, we are, when I first started on this path some 35 plus years ago now, the guides would come in and say things like, you know, if you have things that you need to transform, if you have issues or patterns or any of those things, you really need to work on that because you're going to come into a time period where everything is going to accelerate. This is the time period they were talking about. So there's just a whole lot of acceleration going on, and we got all kinds of people here that are tuning in with us that are regular viewers on my show Silent Mystic. So I want to say hi to everybody: Diane and Belinda and Julie and Bernadette and Carol Ann. They're all here, and I just love these ladies. They're all great healers. They're all doing this transformation. They're all in groups with me, and they should be the poster children for this age of transformation because they're all, each and every one of them, are learning to walk their talk, to be more conscious, and to transform or heal through or let go of those third dimensional kind of egoic structures that we've had around for ever and ever. So
Yeah,
I'm
we're all
excited.
facing issues, things we came into this lifetime to look at, to heal, to go
Yeah.
forward in, and in this time, as you said, as things quicken, as the vibration can rise, we can be lifted, all boats lifted, and if you are aware that you're in this age, this shift, this transition, and you do it in a grounded, practical way, that
Hmm.
can help you awaken.
Yes, absolutely. You know, and that's the thing. You know, it's being conscious and being aware that this is exactly where we're at, and this is what we're supposed to be doing. And I have to tell you, Philip, and of course, what you and Jane teach really has helped me to work with others and the healing I've done myself. I took your class. I started it 7 years ago. Do you believe that? I've known you for seven
Wow.
years now. And the healing that I've been able to do in that amount of time is is really amazing to me, and how I'm able to help other people do that
Hmm.
is really remarkable. And then there's the hybrids of, all these people that are watching. I know a lot of them do other energy types of work, and they're they're doing some really powerful stuff. And so what I'm finding is that we're all kind of melding all of these things together and using them. They're morphing into these amazing processes, and some are used by themselves, but we're also learning new things even as we go on. And so it's really important too for the people out there to remember that this isn't always easy. There are a lot of dark nights of the soul. You used to hear about that. I know you and Jane have been on the path probably a little longer even than I have been. And Dark Night of the Soul was not something that we talked about a lot. Well, that's happening a lot now,
Hmm.
even more so. Do you
Right.
find?
Right. Well, the dark night of the soul, a lot of our programs and people we help seem to be, we sometimes use that term. So that on the surface, on the front end, it seems very challenging and troubling, even scary. But if you put it in perspective, take a breath, and basically you're no longer able to function and tolerate in the old ways that really weren't that conscious or effective
Yeah.
from where you're going.
Yeah.
And so as you put a light on that, it can be very troubling, especially if you kind of put your if you don't go with the flow a little bit and you do a lot of resistance. So it may be challenging, it may be a little bit of a ride for a while, but to go with it and go with the flow and find trainings, find people like Jeryl, and find resources. There's a lot of people who will support you, who are there and maybe have gone through some of it themselves or know how to help you. So a lot of people retreat when they find these difficult things, which is probably actually the worst thing you can do,
Yes.
rather than sort of reach out and say, I'm confused, I need help, I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah. And I think those who've been on this path for quite some time, um, it is it is incumbent upon us to help others. I see this sometimes as there's this big wall, and there's all these ladders, and we're all going up these ladders, and each of us are on different rungs, and we're reaching down and we're pulling somebody up next to us up the ladder and going, come on, let me help you, let me help you up here. Because the one thing that is so crucial is that we have compassion for ourselves, have compassion for others, and go easy on ourselves, because we have a tendency at times to be hard on ourselves, or we think, okay, we have all of this book knowledge, or we have all of these belief systems that we're learning. We've got all this stuff out there, because let's face it, when I started, I know, and I'm sure you and Jane, there wasn't, and maybe you had it more because you're in California, but I mean, honestly, I'd have to go like 4 or 5 hours to find a bookstore that had the books, because you didn't have Amazon, you didn't have the internet.
Right.
And it we I grew kind of slowly because we didn't have access. And there is so much access now, and there are so many philosophies and so many ways of walking a spiritual path, and there's so much knowledge that people are getting hit with so rapidly that sometimes I think we get a little hard on ourselves for not all the time walking our talk. you
Right.
know?
And no one does, unless you're a saint. Even if you're a saint, you might have some challenges at times. So,
Yeah,
yeah, be compassionate. Part of it is that forgiveness and that
yeah,
self-compassion, and just saying, hey, I'm having a tough time here. Breathe. I need a little help. Right.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
one step at a time.
Kindness, one of the things that was really brought out in my ordination program with you and Jane and Awakenings was the golden rule.
Hmm.
I think that's more important today than ever because energetically on a global level, there's a lot of stress. There's, here recently, at least here in the U.S., because I know I have a lot of people that live all over the world that I, hang out with and teach and that, and we've had a lot of conflict and stress and judgment and anger and the pulling back and forth of ideologies and it's honestly, it's sometimes really easy to get caught up in the dogma of it all or the insanity or the energy of it all. And I don't watch the news. I really try to stand back from all of that. But I think now more than ever, it's really important that we show a lot of compassion for each other.
Hmm.
And when we catch ourselves judging, to stop and go, okay, I don't think this is working really well for me right now. I need to try to shift that perspective.
Right. And the golden rule is a great antidote for that. Yeah. And just notice when you're judgmental, and that's a big thing. From my background, I have a kind of a Jewish background. There's sort of in my family and things like that. There's a lot of that I
Yeah.
adapted that I'm still kind of working through at times, and just seeing that. And part of it is just seeing it and just
Yeah.
being really become more aware of yourself in the moment and see, does that sound like a judgment? Um,
Yeah.
and what does it feel like? There's often actually the feeling of it is actually probably the most telltale thing.
I like that you said that too because I was listening to someone and I love Carol Ann she says, I'm thankful for all the information that is available now. Otherwise, she'd think she was crazy. And
Right.
there's some serious truth to that because there is, energetically as in and whether people believe it or not, and there are those trains of thought that say we're going from a carbon based to a crystalline base structure and molecularly and then when you look at quantum physics and you look at the different dimensions and the fact that we're literally moving in and out of dimensions at times, and so many people now have gifts. I mean, when like I said, when I first started, oh my gosh, to find someone that had gifts, was psychic, a medium, this or
Right.
that, or an energy healer, was really quite. It was cause for celebration because they were few and far between, or they hid their gifts because of ridicule from others. Decades
Right.
ago. And now there's so much information that I will say this: discernment is more important now than ever.
Right. And that's what I wanted to get into.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, 20, 30, 40 years ago, there was a lack of resources and things to choose from. But now there's almost so much. How do you curate it? How do you have a discerning mind? And that's part of my understanding of the new age is opening your heart and mind. And the inquiring, discerning mind is very open, is very non-judgmental, looks at things, puts things together, reserves conclusions,
Mm-hmm.
goes slowly and carefully, and then also maybe at times with the heart intuitively when it feels right. But it looks for guidance in the quote earthly world from resources, the internet, books, people, and the invisible world from the angels, the masters, the guides, and your own
Right.
soul's awareness. So you want to develop discernment and not just be a kind of a mindless follower believer, because that
Yeah.
isn't going to take you really ultimately where you want to go.
I agree. I totally agree with that. And I'm really glad, I have to tell you though, Philip, I'm really glad I started when I did, because it came at me in small chunks. I'm one of those people, if you put me in a store and you give me 10, options, I'm going to have a really difficult time choosing which one I want. I want a little of it all. And
Yes.
I don't know how. I'm really quite impressed with so many people today that are just now waking up, or maybe they've only been on the path for a few years. And I'm there's the point I want to make is that you and I and Jane have been on this path, it seems like, forever and ever and ever. And people will say to me, well, gosh, you've been on this path for so long, I'm never going to know what you know. Well, odds are, and I know you, Philip, you read, like, you are a voracious reader. I know you read every day. It's a habit I've gotten into. I start my day every day with reading. And you might not have all the books that we have, and you might not have read as much. But what I've learned is that even if you just are waking up today, everyone as consciousness has grown, the light on this planet, it it's like you get to start at the head of the class. For example, my first teacher said to me, we were in this class and we took his college course, and then he had a private class at home, and we'd done this 12-week thing. And he said, now I am going to open it up to a new group of students and that. And we all looked at him, of course. Now, keep in mind, this is over 3 decades ago. And I looked at him and I went, we're all going, oh, well, you can't do that, because, oh my gosh, we are so smart. Like, we'd been doing this for what, like 3, 4, 5 months maybe. We're just so advanced and we're so smart. They're never going to know what we know. They're never going to be able to catch up to us. And he literally laughed at us. He truly did. And he didn't do it in a mean way, but he first introduced me to the concept that no matter how long you've been on your path, and yes, I may have a little more book knowledge, or I may have a broader base of knowledge here or there, your heart is, your soul has knowledge. And you
Hmm.
touched on this earlier. Our souls have a knowledge and knows everything. So we're just reminding people. And,
Hmm.
and and you said something about that earlier, about other lives, that I'd love for you to repeat for everyone, because it was just really good.
I wish I remember what
Oh.
one you were referring to, because I said a few things.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what reference.
Well, you were talking about, I said, I've been on this path in this lifetime for what, 35 plus years. And you
Hmm.
said, but the other lifetimes
Yeah,
as
the other
well.
lifetimes,
Yeah.
that might have been before we got on air here.
It
Yeah,
was
if you
before
look
we
at your
got on the
lifetime
air.
as
Yeah. Yeah.
lifetimes, that we are
Yeah.
awakening to our life and who we are. We came, quote, here on earth from somewhere else. Our life is but a sleep and a forgetting, William Wordsworth, and trailing and tears of glory. As we're waking up, we're learning things. And as the Course in Miracles says, one of the main things it says is about forgiveness. And that is often a key to a lot of our lives.
Yeah.
Although I think it's more than that too. It's not limited to that. But if you think about forgiveness, you come from this timeless realm with your soul when you're not in body, and then you come here to forgive what you did, perhaps mostly on other times, either in this life or other lifetimes, which is interesting. Like, your mission is to learn and to grow, and part of it is to forgive. Like, it's like, I need to make up for the mess I made, but I needed to figure it out and experience to go deeper and explore and learn and grow and help others.
Yeah. Julie Kiss, she says, I feel so desperately wanting to move on to the next step of my journey.
Hmm.
And, I can remember feeling that. And in fact, I
Right.
went through a period before I met you and Jane, a stagnation, where I felt like, oh my gosh. I mean, when I first started the book, The Celestine Prophecy, which is now coming out again, a lot of people are reading that again now. The Celestine Prophecy was coming out and was really big, Living in the Light by Shakti Gawain. And I mean, I had a partner that finally said, "Let's open up a bookstore because we're going to be bankrupt with all the books that you buy." Because I couldn't find bookstores, so I would go once every 6 months or so, or 3 months or whatever, and travel. And I would come home with literally stacks and stacks and stacks of books to read. I couldn't read enough. I couldn't absorb enough. And that was the only way of getting knowledge back then. I did have a few teachers. And I guess what I would like to say to Julie is that
Right.
it you're exactly, and I know this may sound trite, but it's really not. You are exactly where you need to be, and every bit of
Yeah.
information, every person you need to meet is exactly where they'll come in, where you have your soul contract to meet them. Just like 7 years ago, I was sober for a year. I, by accident, this is a great story. By accident, I wanted to learn EFT, and I couldn't find a program that fit my needs. I needed to do it at home. I couldn't at the time travel to go learn and get certified. And I found Awakenings on the computer, and I signed up for the first level of EFT, and I paid for it, and I was in such a rush I didn't really look at it. And then I went back and I went, oh, if I'd have signed up for 1 and 2, I would have gotten a discount. Okay, well, I messed that up. So I thought, okay, I'll call them. So I called and I got you, Philip. And 24 hours later, not only was I signed up for 1 and 2, I was also signed up for a year-long course to become a holistic life coach. And I will say this now, and I've said it before many, many times. If I never, ever, ever used that course to help anyone else, what it did to transform my life was priceless. And it was exactly right when I needed it. And I've gone on to become ordained with Awakenings with you guys, and so many things. It exactly when you need those things, you will meet those people that you need to meet the most, and those I don't care what it is, what program it is, what teaching it is, what book it is, it will come to you. Just all you have to do is put your intention out there that you want to keep growing in a very soulful, meaningful
Right.
way.
Right.
Intention. Don't you think intention is
Yes. Yeah.
everything?
And I want to talk about curating and getting to, in the age of abundance of information, how to choose. But let me follow up on what you were saying and what Julie was saying. And I'm really glad she shared this about, I feel so desperately wanting to move on to the next step of my journey. So life is a movement and rest. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That means we need to relax and breathe and trust. And that can be, that's part of the journey, trusting in the unknown. It can be very challenging when it's not apparent yet that it will appear. So there's a little bit of trust and faith there, and that's part of the journey. So it's good to have that energy and that enthusiasm of really wanting to move on. I can totally relate to that, especially at certain times in my life where I was just really restless and looking for something, and just almost forcing it. Just where is it? And I need this. I why can't I figure this out? I need this. Why don't I know these things? Where am I going to find them? How am I going to learn them? And be patient, be relaxing. You still, hopefully you still have a little bit of this lifetime left, or maybe quite a bit, to figure it out, and go one step at a time. It will work itself out. Um, and find the support. And I wanted to talk to you, Jerome, because this has been brought up and we haven't directly addressed this. As we said earlier, decades ago when we were learning, there was a scarcity of material. Today, there's really, in a way, almost an abundance, sometimes too much
Too
material.
much.
Oh, and I get this a lot, and sometimes people talk to me and they hey, they talk to people all the time. I know I'm one of many, and I may not even be the right thing, but here's what I tell them. uh, if this is the right thing for you, you'll feel it. And if you trust that, which is your soul calling out to you, then you'll go for that. And if not, that's fine. And if now's not your time, maybe there's someone else. So that's my kind of 2 cents on that. But Jeryl, why don't you share like how people in this sort of age of abundance of information, how people curate and discern through that?
I have to tell you, Philip, I would agree with you 100%. The first thing I learned was hypnosis. Okay, that was the very
Right.
first certification I did. And I did it because of some friends of mine were doing it. And I thought, okay, that sounds like fun, right? And the woman who was teaching it was very spiritual. She was a psychic. She was very gifted. And I just thought, yes, this is it. But then I had some friends call me up and said, my spiritual partner, she said, listen, we're going to go walk on fire out in Omaha. You want to go? And I'm like, sure. Yeah. Okay. Pick me up. And it was like an 8-hour trip. And yeah, pick me up. Let's go. And so when we got there, the woman who was leading the fire walk was a rebirther. You know that technique. It's a very old technique. It's not for the weak of heart, that's for
Yeah, it's
sure.
very long, intensive breathing.
Yes. And I didn't know what rebirthing was. But she had said, you need to have some kind of goal that's just out of reach at the end of this fire walk. And I went, okay, I'm going to be a rebirther. Well, I not only walked once, I walked twice that night. And going to rebirthing school in Memphis, Tennessee, and living there for a month, and the expense of the school and the expense of living there for a month and everything was just totally out of reach. But I made that goal and I went. It was very transformative. Then I came back from that, and a friend of mine who had a crystal and rock shop, she said, listen, there's this thing called Reiki, and it's really cool, and you should do it. And I said, well, she said, but they only take 10. I said, hey, if a spot opens up, my gut said, do it. I didn't know what Reiki was. I sat there the first night. He talked about first, second, and third being a master teacher, and I sat there. I didn't even know what Reiki was, but I knew I was going to be a master teacher. I don't know why. My gut just told me. I did. Within a year, I had all 3 degrees. And then from there, I can't even, okay, so then I learned massage. It just fell in my lap. With you, there are so many times I have signed up for stuff, and even with the course to become a holistic life coach, it wasn't in my wheelhouse. It wasn't even in my budget by any stretch of the imagination, but my gut said it. I talked to Sam that night. Everybody here knows Sam, that's following me. And I said, I don't know why, honey, I need to do this. And he said, we'll make it work. And oh my gosh. But every single time, and honestly, Philip, in all of those instances, other than becoming a massage therapist, I didn't know what any of those things were. But my gut told me, do it. Angelic Reiki. I had no idea what the difference between angelic Reiki and Usui, which is I've been a master teacher of for 33 years. But my gut said, you're going to do it and you're going to teach it. And I love it. So I don't worry about the cost. I don't worry about any of those things, because when my gut tells me you're supposed to learn this, or you're supposed to know this, or this book is right for you, I just go with it. I do not even question it anymore.
How have you found, looking back at it, making choices based on, as you said, your gut? I would maybe say your intuition, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Your soul.
Your soul, which is connected with your intuition, and
Right.
opening your heart.
Right.
Looking back at it, I mean, you probably can't remember every choice you made, but what is your kind of general feeling about deciding that way with your intuition?
I don't have one regret. I truly don't have a single regret for anything that I've learned or any of the money I've spent or anything else. It's like, okay, this is because honestly, right who I am in this very moment of time, I couldn't be happier with who I am.
Hmm.
Am I always happy? No. But I love how all of those things have transformed my life.
Hmm.
People, before I ever stepped on a spiritual path, and that they used to call me DQ, drama queen, right? I mean, I was so egoically third dimensional. I was like always highs and lows, highs and lows. I was even diagnosed bipolar. And I truly have transformed my own life. And oh my gosh, I have so much yet to do. And this last week, I don't know if it was ascension symptoms or what, but I was down for almost a week. It wasn't anything like COVID because I've had that. That takes you down. But it was headaches and achiness in my body and those types of things, which seem to be very much in alignment with what a lot of people who are going through ascension are experiencing right now.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't have it any other way, Philip. I really wouldn't. There isn't any part of it I would change. I don't want
Right. Life is a learning experience, and if you follow your heart and you have the open mind and open heart, it
yeah.
seems to turn out well. And if you realize that you didn't follow your heart, well, then that might be a time to learn that that's what would be a better way of proceeding, you know.
Yeah, don't have regrets. I mean, I am, and thank you, Belinda. Here's the gig. I'm one of those kind of jump in with both feet
Hmm.
kind of girls,
Hmm.
and
You are.
before I know it, I've like signed myself up. I've done this. I'm still the one that tears out all my carpet before I've even got the paint or anything or in the flooring, and go, oh, okay, well, gotta keep going now, right? I am a jump in because when
Hmm.
that part of me says do this, I do it. I wouldn't have taken your course if I had to really consider it for a long time. I probably wouldn't
Yeah,
have.
mentally, yeah. Some people want to kind of look at things and kind of factor it in, but as long as you're following your heart, it may be
Yeah,
useful to just say, now, what exactly does this entail? So I just kind of understand the dynamics or the what I'm
yeah. There have
committing
probably
to.
been a few times I probably should have gotten more
You
than
might go, yeah,
this.
people are on a spectrum. Some people are kind of more right brain jumping in, some people are more mental, but
I know, I love it. I absolutely love it. But that's I'm a Sag. That's who I am. I'm an all or nothing kind of person, and when something pulls at me, I don't even question it.
yeah.
Now
So
I will say sometimes I don't know how I'm going to make it happen.
right. We
I
often
just
don't. Yeah,
I
that's
just you
par
know
for the course.
yeah.
What would you say, Jeryl Ann, to some people who are not, who either don't have your kind of way of just following your intuition and jumping in? And I tend to be, more toward that myself, but a lot that is, well, it depends who you're hanging around with, but that in many ways that's exceptional, not the rule. People are more mental and more weighing things and
Yeah.
budgeting. So what would you say, knowing that not everyone's going to be just, following their heart and jumping in? What would you say about that in terms of opening to the age of transformation?
I think there's always going to be those people who are going to drag their feet and go kicking and screaming.
Hmm.
I think that this isn't an easy path. I mean, I'd love to say that it's all just, light and airy and blissful and everything else, but quite honestly, it it was easier in some ways when I was an addict and an alcoholic because I could just numb out and not
Yeah.
think about anything. But this is a path that you have to be conscious of. You've got to be conscious about what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're thinking. It's I can't. When I first started, and I want to just quickly say hi to Melanie and Angel and a bunch more people came in, and Sherry Hines and that. Hi
Yes,
guys,
welcome
love
everyone.
y'all so much. Um, but people would go, well, if you believe that everything is perfect and it's all meant to be, well, then you can go out and do whatever you want to anyone or behave in any way. And that is the exact opposite of how we all live our lives. We live our lives very consciously, and it's sometimes it's way easier not to be conscious. You know that old saying, ignorance is bliss.
Right.
I was really blissful a lot of the time
Yeah.
before I had my spiritual awakening. It holds your feet to the fire all the
Yeah.
time.
And the path gets narrower. That's another way of saying it.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
right. And I think maybe we might want to flesh this out a little bit so people don't think like, wow, I have to watch everything I say, almost be paranoid,
Yeah,
worry about,
that's
every
true.
little thing. And did I do this right? And
Yeah.
um, it's more just relaxing and being in the moment
Yes.
and noticing when things are off, and investigating and maybe healing or clearing, try
It's
to get
you
help
know
in areas where you need help.
if
Just
you're
be aware
just
of things,
kind.
be
I
kind.
love the fact that you guys focus on the golden rule with ordination, because truly it does boil down to that. Being kind to yourself, being
Hmm.
kind to others, and when you're not, and trust me, I've had some issues with family members and different things even as of late, and there are moments I honestly, there I have to tell you this, I have a few really good friends that I can call up and say, listen, I know this is not a spiritual thing to say. I know it. As I'm saying it, I'm asking God, I'm asking my angels, I'm asking everybody out there, please forgive me for what I'm saying. But right now, this is how I feel, and I really got to get it out there. So I'm going to try to transform it as quickly as I can afterwards. But if I don't say this out loud, I'm just going to explode. And so I think it really it speaks to what you're saying. Um, if we were meant to be these perfect spiritual, oh my gosh, we're conscious all the time, we're watching every word, we're doing this perfectly, we're all that in a bag of chips, we wouldn't be here.
No.
That's the whole point of being here.
Yeah, 3D, the earth and transforming, and we have a lot of raw material, a lot of compost to turn over here. It reminded me of something that happened today. I was playing tennis and I lost my serve. And one of the fellows who said sort of lightly to me, he says, I could see he's really mad now. He said to me, observing me and kind of lightly, I mean, not. And I looked at him and I would think, years ago, I might have tried to hide that. And I said, you're right. I am really mad now,
Yeah.
but I play better when I'm mad.
Okay, then that works for you, right?
That worked for me in
Not
that
hurting
moment.
anybody. It's interesting because we talk about this a lot, and Diana and I in particular talk about it with some of our groups and that, but we really do feel the collective energy, and sometimes too it's really important, and this is another face of this, is that sometimes what you're feeling isn't even yours. If
Right.
most people that are watching us, I'm sure, if not 100% of everyone watching, is empathic or is
Right.
sensitive, however you want to put that. And so, you like, Sam can be kind of cranky or something, right? And he's having a bad day with the golf cart or whatever, and he's just in this mood, and all of a sudden, I'm in a pretty good mood, and then he comes in, and I'm kind of like, rah, 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 rah. Well, it's not my energy, and that is also a matter of discernment of what's mine, what's yours, and
Right.
what's everybody else's too.
Right.
You know.
Good point. Well
Lighten
said.
up. I think it really truly it really is about lightening up a lot too, and for not just forgiving other people, but forgiving ourselves for
Mm-hmm.
our humanity.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
really forgiving ourselves. that Bernadette says, I do try to be a good human. Then I have a day that I am such a total human. I hang my head. I totally get it. I
Yeah,
know.
we
I
all do.
we do. We do. It's just
It's,
it's
yeah, we'll all have those moments, those times, and I can be going along, and suddenly, especially sometimes late at night when my energy and hormones are kind of down, something may feel kind of, I don't even know. I just sort of have sort of a gloomy feel, and I said, okay, it's, just temporary. It'll pass. Just relax, go to bed, and wake up, and you probably won't even know what it is. And if it's something important, I'll deal with it tomorrow.
yeah, and I think that, there is that old saying, just sleep on it.
Right.
It'll be better in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and so, but I think I do believe that the veil between the dimensions is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. I think we're all becoming more sensitive to the energies of not just our planet, but the other planets, to the things that are happening all around us, and the energy, the collective energy. And so again, it's, I think, if I said anything over and over and over, it's, please everyone, cut yourself some slack,
Mm-hmm.
because it's this is Schoolhouse Earth isn't for the faint of heart. Truly, it's
Mm-hmm.
not. It takes some work. It takes some owning those things that aren't always the prettiest.
Right.
But forgiveness, and I really do. I really, really, really do believe that forgiveness is key. And of course, in Miracles, they basically wrap everything around forgiveness
Right.
and not judging. And I love the Course in Miracles. Um, I could relate to it when I couldn't relate to the Bible in that. I'm not dissing the Bible or anything. Anybody out there, please. It's just for me, it that seemed to make some sense to me. It
Right.
made a lot more sense to me than other things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think forgiveness. And you asked me earlier, what do I do? And of course, we do EFT, and I learned EFT from you. Um, and I like the Ho'oponopono, which is a
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness practice. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And I combine those now. And I've been teaching some of my tapping students to combine those. And I do this setup statement with, even though I'm really upset with this person and they hurt my feelings, blah, 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 whatever it is, I love and accept myself. And then I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And I do a few rounds of that until I release that negative energy of whatever I'm feeling towards that person. And if I have to talk it out a little bit more or tap on it a little bit more, as in the setup statement, I do. But I really find that that's been a great tool for me
Mm-hmm.
to diffuse hurt feelings or situations where, because even though there's more light on the planet today than when you and I started on this
Right.
path, there is also a fair amount of 3D egoic structures that are fighting to maintain control that are getting taken down. And so there's a lot of, it can be a little blown out of proportion at times. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of light, there's a lot of heat too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Things are
So
burning sometimes.
I think, and as we become more conscious, we have these things in our face more, and so then it really does behoove us to stop and go, okay, yeah, this doesn't feel very good, and I think I really need to forgive this person and
Yeah.
move
Yeah,
beyond it.
just keep figuring out where can you forgive, because
Yeah,
you're
and how to
giving
do it. Whoops.
kindness and love if you do
Yeah.
that. But as I said, I find it very ironic thinking about it, like coming here to Earth, and if you read accounts from near-death experiences or just from your own uh, transportation to the other realms, it's very peaceful and harmonious. in other non-earthly, more heavenly realms, shall we say. So you come to earth to forgive things that you and others have done. I mean, that's an interesting thing. Like, it's almost like a dumping ground that we have to, but there's a lot of growth and creativity too. So I really don't, to my mind, it's not limited to that. That's just one part of it. It's not completely the whole story, but I find that rather ironic.
Yeah, I would agree. In my journey, I hear people say all the time, it's like, I don't want to have to come back here again. I want to get it all done. I don't want to come back here. And it's like, but here's the thing. There are so many, and whether you believe that we're the only ones here or that are actually other life forms and experiences out there, to have this particular experience is, it may sound crazy, but it is a gift to be here. And it's a gift to be here right now. And it's not one that I want to take for granted. And, if I come back, it means I just got more to do. Or,
Yeah.
or because, like, let's face it, where else are we going to go? Okay, so we may go to this planet, or we may go into this dimension, or we may go to that planet. But guess what, kids? You're always going to be doing something. So this, to me,
Well, I don't think anyone forces you to come here.
no, I don't think so. I think, in fact, there's a heck of a line, and that people are going, hey, I want to go down and help out.
Yeah.
Because I truly believe that ascension is occurring, and that not only are we as humanity ascending into a higher level of consciousness, but that the planet herself, Mother Earth, is also ascending into a higher state.
Creative process.
Yeah.
Going back to the word forgiving, and I don't know if you think about it, that seems like a very odd term to me, forgiving, like you are forgiving, I guess, yourself, but it seems like you're giving something, I guess maybe giving a gift of love to yourself and other people.
Yeah, and grace.
And grace.
And grace.
As
yeah,
well.
I don't know why that popped into my head. I never used that word, but it just kind of popped into my head. But yeah,
that's a good word.
Grace. It's that's there's that meme that always comes up that says, it's like drinking a poison and expecting it to hurt the other person. So forgiveness is not so much for the other person as it is for ourselves.
Right.
But I would contend that it is also for the other person as well, because when we step up to the bigger picture of all of it, is that we are all one. If I am forgiving someone else, if I'm forgiving myself, then if you and I are one, if we're all part of the collective consciousness, and I do agree that it is for me first and foremost, so that I don't have that toxic energy within me. But the truth of it is, if I tamp it out of myself, then it also helps the collective consciousness.
Right.
Because we are all one. When we see someone with a negative behavior, whether it's drinking, smoking, addictions, gambling, sex addictions, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, let me put it this way, a destructive behavior, part of our, I believe, on an unconscious level, our angst or anger or whatever it is, judgment about it, is because that is us. That person is us. We are all a collective. And so my soul is your soul is Jane's soul, and so on and so forth. And so if you're hurting your soul in any way, it hurts my soul.
Mm-hmm.
And
we're all connected.
Yeah, we're all connected. So, it's really important that we just really, really forgive each other and be kind and practice the golden rule, everybody.
Sounds good to me.
It's very simple. It's very simple. It's complex, but it's very simple.
So as we're kind of on the tail end of our Soulful Living show with Jeryl and Heatherdale, spiritual coach and teacher, on opening to the age of transformation, anything you you wanted to mention sort of in toward the closing here, or reviewing or wrapping up on this subject?
I love some of the comments that have been made too.
Mm-hmm.
It's discernment. Let's be discerning. Let's be kind to each other. Let's practice not just loving others, but self-love. And I think that's something we haven't really touched on, but I think it's a really important part of where we're at in our evolution right now. In particular, I think, well, and I think it's a stereotype to say that women, but we are certainly trained to take care of everyone else's needs and to put other people's needs before our own. It is a cultural indoctrination, okay?
It's
Not
cultural,
the whole
probably
nine
some
yards.
genetic things too.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it's something that is, has always been around. So to be self-care is not selfish. And so I think more and more we're coming into a time when each and every one of us, not just women, but men as well, each and every one of us really need to go within, connect to your soul, connect to your heart, it's one and the same, and really move through life as best we can from that place. Not from the mind, but from the heart. Heart, you guys are very familiar. You've studied a lot of the heart brain, the Heart Math Institute
Right.
teachings, and I'm an ad heart facilitator. Um, it's really important that we listen to our heart. It's really important that we practice discernment. If something just doesn't feel quite right, listen to it. Please, please, please. If I ever say anything else, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart.
Yes,
And forgiveness. Yeah.
that's a key to opening up to yourself in the age of transformation. And
Yes,
every day,
absolutely.
keep listening.
And
What's my
just
heart saying?
keep putting the intention out there. Keep putting the intention out there that the right person, the right book, the right training, whatever it is, because, the truth of it is, it's, we made these soul contracts. We just don't randomly kind of flit through this lifetime. We truly set this thing up for ourselves, and we set these reminders in place and everything else. So when you listen to your heart and when you set
Mm-hmm.
the intention that you want your highest and greatest good to come forth, then every single person, because you don't have to know what that looks like. Listen, I didn't know that part of my highest and greatest good was you and Jane, but guess what? Huge part of my highest and greatest good. I didn't know that walking on fire was going to be part of my highest and greatest good, or becoming this teacher or that teacher. It's just when I set the intention, the universe, they
Mm-hmm.
conspire to make it happen. So don't use discernment, but if something clicks for you, it's like with you, Philip. I mean, come on, you talked to me, and 24 hours later, I was enrolled in the class, and I mean, you know, it, and I could have never known in that moment of time how life transformative that was going to be for me,
Right.
and how many other lives I was going to impact because of it. So please, I, you know, I listen to my heart.
You do a good job of it.
Thank you. Thank you. I have good teachers.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Geraldine, if people want to follow up with you, I know some of the people here know you already, but
Yes.
others are being introduced to you, Geraldine Heatherdale. How do they connect with you? What's the way
Um,
you prefer?
just try to get me on Facebook. It's at Jeryl Peterson Heatherdale, Peterson. Just find me on Facebook.
But
And you can also find me at the Imagination of Becoming Network. That's Diana Beyersdorfer's network, and we have a show on Mondays called Silent Mystics. And her and I and Carol Allen, she's just recently, we've added her as another co host. So there's the three of us. We call ourselves the Soul Sisters. And we have some great conversations and conversations like this,
Hmm.
because that's the key. We need to
It is.
help each other.
Say that. Say the imagination of
The
becoming a
imagination
networker,
of becoming network, yes.
and look that up or Google that and find that.
Yeah,
Okay.
please do. It's on Facebook. And
Or on Facebook, look it up.
yeah, look at it's
Okay.
on Facebook, The Imagination of Becoming.
Yeah, and Jeryl Ann Heatherdale.
Yeah, Jeryl Ann Peterson, Heatherdale. I
Jeryl Ann.
know I've got so many names. My gosh, that's
Yeah.
another thing I'm grateful for. All of my husbands. Yeah,
Okay,
my
sounds
husband Sam calls all my ex-husbands his husband-in-laws. I have
okay.
terrific taste in soul family and in everyone. I just, honestly, I have been very blessed to have the most wonderful people come into my life. Whether it's
Hmm.
short term, long term, doesn't matter. So many beautiful people in my life.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks so much, Jeryl Ann, for being with us again, a returning guest on the Soulful Living Show.
Thank you
And
so
if people
much.
like this, please let other people know here at
Yeah.
Soul of Success is the URL on Facebook and International Association of Holistic Practitioners, IHP. Is where we have the show every week. And our website, very extensive, where Geraldine mentioned our coaching and EFT programs and many others, is gettingthrough.org, gettingthru.org/holistic, gettingthrough.org/holistic. And we do value your support. Tuition for our courses and other purchases help our mission at Awakenings Institute of creating a more loving world and share the message of love, opening to the age of transformation. Thanks so much, Jeroen.
Oh, thank you, Philip. And I want to thank everybody, all my dear, dear soul family out there that joined us tonight. They're so supportive and loving, and they are all leading the way as well.
Yes,
And I am so excited to be alive right now and to be a part of this. And thank you so much, you and Jane, for being such a big part of my journey. I'm so grateful and appreciative of all you've taught me.
well, thanks, well said. We're glad that you've been part of ours too.
Good, good. Thank you so much. Night, everybody.